give everybody a chance to hop on.
Meg, you deserve whatever reaction. But hurting yourself? Stop.
But grounding me for a month on top of taking my phone away is okay? Since when did this happen? Some sort of gulag?
All right, let's see. Let me share it. All right. Give everybody a chance to jump on. We're going to be doing a floor, I guess what would you call a floor display? If you don't want to lean it up against something hanging on the wall, it just kind of can sit on your porch, in front of your television, anywhere you can. I think on your porch maybe would be cute, but you really can put it anywhere. Let's see. All right, when you jump on, say hey. And I have some new followers that are not from Waynesboro, where I'm from. So if you are one of those people, when you jump on, say hey, let everybody know here where you are from. If you're not from here, if you're watching the replay, I still would. I'm going to turn the chat on. And so whenever you jump on, say hey, because my chat isn't on, and I like to be able to chit chat with y'all. All right, one thing, let me plug my phone up because it just said it was on 20%, and once I forgot about that and it died on me. So I'm going to plug it up real quick. Hey, Tammy. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're here. All right, listen, we're going to do a craft tonight with a ghost. So I guess you could say it's a Halloween. We haven't done any Halloween yet, and I swore I was going to do a whole week of Halloween, but I've got so much Halloween stuff and cute little knick-knack Halloween things too before we try to attempt maybe a Halloween tree. Maybe a small version. Hey, Christy. Hey, Miss Jane. So we're going to start tonight. And what I did was I went ahead and painted my two pumpkins, and I have two of them, and I really don't know how to explain why I'm going to use two until I start doing it, and that way you'll understand. They're just wood cutouts in the shape of a pumpkin, and it's probably, let's see, about 20 inches tall, just only about 12 or 13 inches wide. But it's kind of tall because I want to be able to either set it out by my door, like by a pretty mum or something on Halloween, or set it next to my fireplace during that time. But I went ahead and took the plaster colored paint. Remember, this is the one I always use. It's not really white, and it's not an off-white. It's just a plaster color. It looks really white, but if you put it against something stark white, it kind of just has that little bit of rustic in it, but just a small little amount. Hey, Julie Kate. And then I've got another one because same exact size. Miss Jennifer White cut them for me, but I think you can buy these. I don't think you can buy it at the Dollar Tree, but you probably can get it at just about any craft store. Hobby Lobby, Michael's, you know, any kind of, and you can do this on a smaller scale too. It doesn't have to be as tall as mine are, but I'm going to work with one just starting off, and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to turn it over, and I didn't paint the back of either one of them, but I wanted to give you a quick painting tip. The plaster that we have, anytime that you paint, I paint this color a lot. Like we did the signs last night, and I have all those sign coverages. And my tip for you is to buy one of these brushes. They are, I think they're mainly like when people paint furniture, and they have different shapes. They even have some that are bigger than these, and they just cost you a few dollars more. And they just make cover. I could put a dollop of paint in the middle of this. I mean, and after about 5 or 6 strokes or whatever, it's all finished. And, you know, I'll move on to the next one. And I think it kind of soaks up a good little amount of paint where I didn't have to do 2 coats on this. And normally I do. But I'm going to add a little distress into it at the end, so I really wasn't, you know, if a little bit showed through in places, it didn't bother me. But if you want to do 2 coats on it, but this brush just makes this so much easier. And before I put it up, I wanted to show you. because that's what I use to do one side. Now if you're just gonna lean something up like this against the wall, you can paint the other side. With a ghost shape like this, there's really nothing maybe you can turn it into, but sometimes when people do like scarecrows because they have a hat, on the other side they'll do a snowman. Try to work out two-sided anytime you buy something, because that way you can get something a little nicer because you're going to do 2 holidays with it. And sometimes you can just do 2 different faces if you want like a scary ghost, or especially if it's like a pumpkin, a jack-o'-lantern. That one side you want it to be that cute little "I'm not going to scare you" for little kids. Hey Beth, hey Stephanie, hey Miss Linda. And then then you can do one that's like a little spooky. But okay, I went ahead and painted each one of these. Now I'm going to set this one face down, because what I'm going to do with these, and like I said, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm going to use my Jenga blocks to actually put the 2 almost together so it will stand up. Don't want to hang it on the wall. I'm not making a wreath. So what I'm going to do is put spacers in between them, glue it together so when I set it down, it will stand up. So that way it can be a little display standing on the floor. That's why I did it kind of tall. So the first thing we're going to do is take your little Jenga blocks, and I've used about half of this pack. And they're 2 different colors, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to cover the sides with a real pretty burlap and black sparkly ribbon that I've got. I believe I got this one at Michael's. They had all of their ribbon on sale. It was regular $10, but all of their ribbon was either 40 or 50% off when I went the other day. So I got, let's see, a little over 8 yards for just $5. So. And like I told you, sometimes I do like to buy, especially if it's on sale. I think 2 Jenga blocks, and I'm not going to put it, let me face down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to put them randomly. I don't have to do it around the whole edge, just enough. And I think 2 is still too close, because like I said, I want to be able to put my ribbon on the side. So let's see how thick that is. So it looks like I may have to use about, gosh, is that 6? I think it looks like 6 that I'm gonna need to do around each edge, because I want it to cover up. But it doesn't matter, because these are $1 and you get like, I don't know how many in each one, but it's a lot. 36 blocks in each one, and I'm not going to do it around the whole thing, just sporadically around it. All right, so first let me glue these together. Now, if you're going to put it outside, it's cooling off a little bit, so you probably can get away with just using your hot glue gun. But if it's really hot outside, or this could come apart because the glue, well, it's not going to get, hopefully it's maybe not going to get back up to 100 when it's Halloween. It's like the glue, but you could put a little E6000. You could even make these in advance. Like if you decide you want 10 little, or 8 little places, you just count out. You could actually put wood glue in between these because they are wood. Make those in advance and then stick them to your project. But I'm going to use all hot glue so I could show you on here live. And I couldn't make this in advance because I was only making one. All right, so I'm going to take my first, and you don't want a whole lot of glue in between them, just enough to bond it. Because it may make it just I may not need all of 6 of them if it starts putting just even a little bit of gap in between 6. So, and these wood pieces, these ghosts, I got them made out of wood. And they're really light, so I probably don't have to do many sections of these. And you can use whatever little blocks you want. If you find like a little 2x4 and you cut them up, I guess you could, how wide is that? It's 2 inches, so you could do a 2x4 and just make, just get somebody to cut little pieces for you. Just anything you can think of to make it separate from the other one. That way when you put it together, it has that little foot at the bottom so you can stand it up, no matter what the shape is. Because you see at the bottom of this, it has like the little ghost skirt at the bottom. And I'm gonna put like a generous amount on that. And see, I'm just gonna stick it to one edge. Now, kind of wanting to go in order and somewhat be alike, I'll probably put another one right there, maybe two right here, two, you know. And down at the bottom, I don't know if this is important, maybe I'll just put one, because I like the fact that I won't put ribbon down there, so it can kind of be like the flow of his skirt. All right, so let me make these really, really fast, and I should have done this before you came on. And I thought I was doing so good painting in advance, so you didn't have to wait on me to paint. And here I am doing something else that's going to take just a minute. But I mean, there's only so many doors you can hang things on, and you know, tables in your living room. And I thought this was so cute. Just sitting by the door. The original one I saw, you know, you had to buy like a metal one from somebody, and they were really cute. But I think it was one of those like Mackenzie Child or something that cost like $80 for something that was just a little piece of metal. So, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna have to open my new block set and watch this go everywhere. All right, get my little knife out, but all right, y'all are always so quiet. I always want y'all to ask questions, because I know I'm not good enough to explain this, but nobody really ever asks me a question. Every now and again y'all do, but if I watch a craft and I have a question, I always ask. So y'all don't be scared to ask me something, and if I don't know the answer, I will find out the answer for you, even if it's by trial and error on something. All right. See if I did this one here. And they can get away with just putting 2 here at the top and then 2 here. Quit running my mouth. Ow, I just burnt my finger. I do that all the time. I love my new glue gun. If you are a crafter out there and you do a lot, get you this cordless glue gun, because it is awesome. But they are right. Do not get just 1 battery. Get 2 batteries, because there's nothing worse than you're sitting here and you look down and it has, like now, it has went off and you've got a lot of things you need to do. And it really only takes about 30 minutes for it to charge, but if I had to stop here, then what else would I show y'all for the next 30 minutes? Why, either this or your regular glue gun charged, and I really don't. That's what I'm trying to avoid, is having to have one plugged up all the time. So there's got a new battery, and you can just keep going. All right, now this one I'm going to put right here, and I think because I put those so close to the top that I'm going to be able to, you know, I don't like where I put this one. I'm not going to be able to get that loose. So hold on, let me just put another one on here. You need to put them as close to the edge as you can possibly get them, because you don't want, let me try to get that off real quick. You don't want them to, you know, form a gap. Ugh. Let's see. I'm probably going to have to put it in another place, because I don't know if I have a thing out here strong enough to get that loose. And Lord have mercy, if I didn't want it to stick, it might have. Okay, I'm just going to have to glue it beside it, which you won't see it, but all right. Get it close to the edge as I can. All right, there we go. All right, let's see. Hey, Miss Pauline. You're doing a good job. Thank you so much. I enjoy this. This is so much fun. If you know me well, you know it's because I probably like to run my mouth. That on top of, it's like you don't have to do crafts alone, because at my house, unless Neely's home and the older she gets, she really doesn't like to do crafts with me very often. I have to do this by myself. So doing this live, it really, it's like I get to craft and I'm not alone. As my sisters would tell you well, I don't know when to shut up, so me having to do something alone is not fun. I almost didn't do a live tonight. I had to go to this meeting after work. If you can't tell, I've actually curled my hair today, and I think I put makeup on for the first time, like, since the summer started. I don't think I've had makeup on in that long. Some of it was like dried and cracked, and I'd forget what brush, put on what. And Chris was like, you look awful fancy. This morning when I left, and I really don't look fancy. He was just saying because I have makeup on. But he thought I looked fancy. I'm thinking, that's so sad, my poor husband. All right, just a couple more of these and we should be able to move on. I've got all these like little spidey webs, you know, you get from your glue gun. All right, that's 4. One more makes 5. And I think I'm just gonna do 1 at the skirt because where it's gonna hold down at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm gonna put this close to the side. I don't want anything to make it look like it's put together. And looking from the front to the side, I don't want you to be able to see the blocks on the side. So I'm not even gonna put ribbon down on the side of there either. All right, so I'm just gonna put maybe 1 right there, and I guess I could probably put 1 in the center to kind of, so it doesn't bend, a little bit more stable. But you'll have to play with whatever size you get. If you got something half this size, you wouldn't have to do, you know, half the number that I'm doing. So you'll just have to judge by whatever size you want your craft is. Now, if you see this and you want this, Jennifer has saved it. So you can either contact her or contact me, and I can get you 2 of these boards, or you can just get 1. If you like the things we do or the colors or whatever, you can just make it your own and do it a different way. I'm gonna put this one right here in the center. Then I'm gonna make at least 1 more to go in the center right here. And then all I'll do is touch up each one and set it down. And I may need to stand it up to glue it together to make sure that it's level with each other, because that part you need the bottom to be level, not just the sides, because the bottom is what you're going to be able to stand it up, and that's the whole point of doing the blocks, is so you can stand it up. So I may have to move this. I use my heating gun on my little plastic mat here, which was so wonderful. And it kind of wrinkled it a little bit, so it's not very level. So I'm gonna move it out of the way. And I guess maybe you could do one that way if you weren't gonna put the ribbon on the side and just do a bunch. And you could do it maybe close enough on the inside where you're looking from it forward. It would just look like you had like maybe a 3D ghost and you wouldn't be able to see this. But I'm gonna cover mine on the side with ribbon, so I'm not so much worried about that. Let me move my paintbrushes for just a second so I can move this mat. I put the glue gun on it and it got like a little wrinkly on me, so it's not real level right now. All right, so I'll get my other ghost, and what I'm gonna do is glue it together like this. So And you know what I did? I painted the wrong side, so I'm gonna have to make them match. I painted like the wrong side, so I'll just do this on the back, and later on after y'all are done, so y'all have to watch me paint. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna glue them together just like that, and that way it'll just sit on itself. I mean, you could always put a little stabilizer behind it, but that's the whole reason why I did the two, is so it's something that could sit down. I didn't want to do a hanger. Logging in late. What is this? It's like a door. Hey, Miss Gail. Do you work every day? Yes, I do work. Do your girls like to craft? Neely sort of likes it, but it's kind of like me. It's got to be something she wants to do, and she will craft with me. She's really good. Buffy probably be really good at it because she's really artistic and can draw and paint really good. But no, has she ever did any arts and crafts with me? No. All right, so let's see. All right, so while I have it sitting straight up, and it may be a little hard, I'm going to put all the glue on them, at least start at the top, and if there's one I've got to, get in between and touch up. And you can always go from the side, I probably couldn't reach that one, and put a little bit more glue to reinforce each one, because like I said, when we put our ribbon on it, that's going to cover it up. So let me touch these really quick with this glue. Love this glue gun. All right. So let me face it towards myself. And I think that's got it. You can see that one just a little bit, but okay, now that I've got it in place, I'm gonna put a little pressure on it. And I mean, and this is like I didn't want to make a whole lot of these, so I didn't do one in advance. That's how some of my projects are gonna have to be. Why would I make like a whole bunch of this unless somebody wanted me to make them for them? So it's a lot of trial and error when you're just making one thing. But I think, press down on this side. And before I put my ribbon on it, I may go back in here and see now. I set it in front of my fireplace, it's just gonna stand there. If you set it out on your porch, it'll just stand there. You don't have to hang it on anything. Now in the picture of the metal ones that I saw like this, that you would buy, they had 3 different sizes that, you could, all designers like to do things in 3s. You could, actually do more than one of these and do different sizes as a group, or you could do 2 just alike and put them on either side of your fireplace, outside by your pumpkin, down your steps would be really cute. And because this eye, and I just thought about this, I hate to put the ribbon in it, which I guess I could stuff it up from the inside. Since you have this gap in here, you actually could get the eyes cut out and put you a light behind it. So if you put it out on your porch, not only will you have your jack-o'-lantern, that has the light ups. Hey Patty, where did you get the glue gun? You can buy your glue gun, Ryobi. I think Home Depot said that they own it. I bought mine off of Amazon, but when I went, because I didn't buy a charger, I got 2 batteries and got the gun, and I didn't buy the charger, so I had to go into Home Depot, not Lowe's, but Home Depot. They own Ryobi. So they have all of their products there, and it was the same price. It was like, the gun was like $29 and some change on Amazon, and $29 and some change on when I went in Home Depot. Now the batteries and all that, I didn't check the prices on those to compare prices, but it was the same price buying it on Amazon or going into Home Depot. But it's so good, because I mean, if I wanted to do something outside, you just walk outside with it. You don't have to worry about cords or anything. Hey Miss Linda. So I didn't get her to cut the eye. I got her to cut eyes out for me, but I wanted to be able to paint them and make them just a little bit 3-dimensional on it, so they would poke out. But you could, and because I knew that I was going to do this, and I didn't want you to be able to see behind it. So I just got her, either you can draw them on, but I got her, to cut out the little circles for me to put his eyes on here. But yes, you could put, you know, holes and put lights on it, especially if you're going to put it out on a porch. It would be really cute if you put it in your house with lights on it. But I knew I wanted to do the ribbon, so the lights never occurred to me. So I'm going to put a little reinforced on this one right here because it's acting like it wants to come a little loose. And I don't know why. Maybe some of the bricks aren't touching as well as they are on the other side. So I'm just going to reinforce this real quick, and while that's doing, we'll get our other things ready for this because we're not finished. The sides is where I want to make this as pretty. You would think I would worry more about the front, but I really loved this ribbon that I got. And so what we're going to do with the ribbon, and I have some of this jute, and it's the bigger jute, and it's the one you can buy at the Dollar Tree, and I think you get 3 yards of it, and that's really good because if you go and buy a huge spool of this big, it's a little bit bigger than this, but you pay almost like $15 for it. Now you get a ton of it, but you have to buy a lot, and if you're just doing a small project, you could just get those. And as my sister says, I'm always saying, and it's just $1. All right, so let me cut this ribbon open. Let me get a good pair of scissors. All right, and like I said, you know, sometimes I love dollar store ribbon and sometimes they have a good one, but oh, this was so pretty. And if you see, it's really fine glitter in between each one, and it has that really like brown, what do you call it, like a burlappy color. I love burlap. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this around the side so it gives it, you know, that really cute color. I'm going to distress the edges with some brown paint to pull it together, and then in between the ribbon to cover up where the edge of it and the ribbon meet, I'm going to put jute this all around the edge. But first, we're going to take our paint out, and I hated I painted the back wrong because I was like, once I'm done with this, I'm going to be done with it. All right, so remember I told you these little trays are perfect. You get about 4 or 5 of them from the Dollar Tree. So even if you forget to wash the paint out or something, you know, and paper plates, Katie Garner told me that if you put your paint, which is chalk paint or any kind of like little acrylic paint, it's water-based. So if you put it on a paper plate, it just sits there and the plate just absorbs the water. And so that's why you have to keep adding to it, or if it gets really slimy. So if you use these little things, and even if you mess up, like I said, there you get 4 or 5 of them for $1, you can just throw them in the trash can. But I'm going to do a little bit of this truffle colored chalk paint, and I don't think I've ever distressed the edges with chalk paint. I don't know if it'll go on as smooth as acrylic does, but I'm going to try it just to see. And I have had this bottle right here forever. I think I bought 2 more bottles and I still have not. It's just went a long way. All right, in my brushes, because I'm stressing on the corner, like a good really dry brush like this, it's really good for distressing, but that's a little big for me. And I don't want to do something I have to go back and change. Now this one right here is not quite so wide. Just give me a second to look through this tray and find the brush that I really want. And it's looking like I'm going to try that one, because I really want it to be a really dry brush. And gosh, who doesn't have a dry brush that's just got old, and the 1 minute I can't find one of mine. Alright, this isn't that bad. Let's try that, and if it gets to where it doesn't look as big, the bigger the brush you do, the less you have to do this. And I don't think that chalk paint's dark enough. Alright, so I usually put a really good amount on my brush and just dab it off, but at least it's covered more of your brush. And we talked about this before. I'm not one to get my sanding blocks out and all that kind of stuff. So you take it from the edge and you just pull it down. And see, it's going to give me that kind of weathered look, but I don't have to sand it. You can also, you know, at the end when my brush gets really dry, sometimes I'll do streaks in the center of it. But you really can't see the streaks. It just kind of is discoloring the white just a little bit. So I'm going to go around the edge. And, you know, in some places you can be a little bit, you know, heavy-handed, you know, than you are in other places. So it just looks like it's been outside and weathered a lot. And the edges just aren't so crisp. And I'm not used to working with something this big, so I may need to get that brush out to do more up there so it'll blend in. All right, I'm gonna start going down the other side. Let me get some more paint. But you see, I'm just going around the edges. Let's see if that light wouldn't glare on it. See, there you go. You can see, I mean, you kind of can tell now it's paint strokes, but I'm gonna use that bigger brush and blend it right in. All right, so let me do the other side real quick. And when she showed us this that time, I was just like, thank goodness. I mean, I like the sand look, but I mean, getting a sanding block out, then dust gets everywhere. And, you know, I'm doing this in my house because, you know, I got to have air conditioner. So, and, you know, that dust, it can get on anything. Okay. All right, so we'll take this. Maybe I'll just do the edges. I'm gonna get a lot of this paint off. Can even like come on the back and get a lot more of this paint off. Because I'm just gonna paint over this, and this just helps me get some of that paint off. Okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to take it up and blend in those edges. Because I just, you know, I just don't want that starky looking white. And if you put something out on your porch with me around my pond, this is what it would look like anyway. But and I put a little mark right here that's darker than the other one, and I kind of like that. All right. There's something you don't like, you can always take just a damp cloth, and the more you rub on it, it dulls it a little bit, makes it look a little bit more weathered. Okay. So I hope my light ain't glaring. So it gave me like a little bit of a rustic look. Now, if you don't want to do this, that's fine. It doesn't have to, or you can just do it on the edges just a little bit. The main reason why I'm doing it is so it will pull how rusted the jute is going to be on the edge. And even though it's kind of it's got a little bit of sparkle and elegance to it, it still has that jute color on the side. All right, and before I put my paint up and start on putting the put the ribbon on the outside, I'm going to paint my nose and eyes really quick. And I think I'm just going to put it on there a basic way. Like the mouth of the, and I'm going to paint them first. The mouth, you can either do like this, or sometimes people like to do it, you know, you don't want them, I definitely don't want them to be perfect. I want it to be like that. You know, the eyes just slightly not the same. But let me paint these real quick. And I think I'm still going to paint them black so I can tie the ribbon in on the side. So, because I started thinking, do I want to paint them brown? But no, I have that black on the side, so I'm going to do these. And even though I've got that little bit of fine glitter on the side, if I was a glitter person, you could even take out, you know, I bet the big chunky black ribbon would probably pick lights, especially if you put it on your porch. It would pick your porch lights up and have that like little sparkle, like maybe you did have lights on it. without putting lights on it. I'm just, you know how I am with glitter. It gets everywhere. But every now and again, like this ribbon was just so pretty. I loved it. That I went ahead and bought it. So, see, we're just painting the front. And we're just going to hot glue those on. Like I said, if it's something you put outside, you're worried about the heat, just dab a little E6000 or just regular super glue, Gorilla Glue, whatever kind of like super adhesive you have. Just put a couple of dabs on it and then put your hot glue on it. You can put 2 glue on it, and that way the hot glue will hold it for right now. You work on it, and then by tomorrow your adhesive will activate, or whatever it does, over 24 hours, harden, and you have that permanent hold and they won't fall off. Because I guarantee you, if this was a wreath and for some reason it got back up to 100 degrees or felt like 100 with the heat index, these eyes would, there's a chance they would probably slide off. And like I said, you think it in the heat, it's heating back up and they're just kind of going to slide down. But it doesn't. The glue is still hard. It's just like it just quits working. I don't know what that means, and the only thing, any technical things about glue, but it just happens, and you go outside and something's sitting on the ground. So, but if you're going to put something, like I plan on putting this in the house, if I put it outside, I would either be prepared that they're going to fall off, or maybe because it's going to be October, into October when I would put it up, it wouldn't get that hot, so the hot glue would not fall off. Alright, so while that dries, we're going to start putting our ribbon and stuff on it. And because it's going to be an end piece, I'm probably going to start on the bottom. Let's see if you can still see. Yeah, you can still see the project. You don't have to see me. Alright, so I'm going to start, and remember we made it perfectly wide enough for my ribbon. So I'm just going to glue this and go all the way around the edges. But I'm going to start on the bottom, so if I have 2 pieces come together, I'd really like it under the bottom. But that kind of has a little slightly frayed edge that I don't want to show. Now this may be a little bit hard when I get it started, putting glue on each side, but then you have to put it just every so often as you're going. But I was worried about what if I saw the glue on the front, because I really don't want it to come loose. But then that's why I said I would put the jute to connect it around the edges, because I don't, I wanted to put a generous amount of glue on it, but I didn't, and then it kind of bubbles and you see it on the side a little bit. Okay. And I'm not going to worry so much about it being perfect on the back part. You want to worry about, the ribbon connecting on, where you're going to see it, that you don't overlap and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I think I got that pretty tight. And so the rest of it now will just be going around the edge. And like I said, I'm going to worry about where it falls on the front, and just kind of pull it after I get it on the front where I want it. Oh, that's going to be pretty. Okay. All right, let me turn it over on its side. And I don't think this will be a lot of ribbon. It looks like maybe, what, a yard and a half. So, not even as much ribbon you would use if I decided I wanted to put a bow on the top of this, which you could. You can put a bow on anything. I love ribbon. All right, hold on. Now that I've gotten started, I probably can go a little bit further. And if I don't get in a rush, won't have to go back and fix so much. Touch ups. overlap that too much. All right, just a little bit longer. I knew the sides would take the longest because that was really, besides the eyes and a little bit of painting on the front, that was really the only decorative part that I was gonna do. Was most of my decorations will be on the side of it. All right, let me turn it up on the top. And do a little bit right here. And a little bit of my Jenga block kind of was coming up, but you'll see once I put the ribbon on it, you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. And I know looking from the front, you almost see you don't have it. So probably when I display it, I'll put it, you know, a little bit to the side like that so you can see like the whole thing. Think anything's gonna give me any trouble until maybe when I get to the bottom and I have to do around the little squiggly lines of its like ghost skirt at the bottom. All right, let me put that down there. And yeah, I don't even think I've used a yard of that ribbon yet. So yeah, especially if you do a smaller project, you wouldn't even hardly use any at all. And that's if you wanted to do the ribbon on the side. Like I said, you have lots of options. If you got you something that you really like, because this is a ghost and you think it's just for a little while, but you actually can put something Halloween out for decoration at least the whole week of Halloween, I would say. Now that's not meeting on the back, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Like there might have been a little bit too much space, but it's still on the front, so that's not bothering me. I'm still just making sure it's perfectly on the front, and then hopefully it'll meet back up and start catching the back. Okay, get this little tip before I turn it over on the top of its head. Oh, this is turning out so cute. Okay, right side up. I would go ahead and cut this so it was seen better, but this is such nice, pretty ribbon out that I don't want to waste any. Cut it too long, or definitely don't want to cut it too short. Now this is going to be the tricky part. I may have to cut each piece to go. I hadn't even thought about that. Oops, let me do the back. Okay, hold on. Let me see how I'm going to do this. I definitely shouldn't have put glue on that first. Like I said, I'm just going to worry right now. Well, didn't I say I wasn't going to put ribbon on the bottom? Well, I am, because that way I don't want you to see the legs out of it. Let me see if I can get my scissors down in there. All right. Okay, so that one is done. Yes, definitely don't do more than one of the little humpy things at a time, because it grabs it. The next one grabs the ribbon, and you don't want that to happen. All right, so take my finger, and you can get like I grabbed my scissors and ow. So like you don't burn yourself like I just did. And stuff that one down in there. Like I said, the back I'm really not worried about. Alright. So that one's in there. Really good. Okay, one more. Whoops, didn't get the back. Alrighty, and going to, alright. Now I'm going to cut this ribbon. I'm probably just going to cut it on one of the stripes. And hopefully I can make it blend into another stripe so you won't be able to see where it comes through. It will be even. Alright, so decide someplace. How are y'all liking it so far? See that side or this side, and we'll have the little eyes on it. Let me put this ribbon out of the way. We can get the jute out. Go ahead and start on that, and then you can see it better. Now, the only place that I had a problem with is some of the back didn't connect, but it's still laying okay. I guess because the side is pulled tight, that it's still laying really well. So just like with the other, and I think I'm going to start on the bottom. We'll take this jute, and this is the part that you don't have to do. But I really liked it because I did want you to see where this come together. I'm going to take this and do it around the edges, and it kind of just defines the edge. And maybe I'm going to do this in half and start from the bottom, because I'm really not worried if I have to just discard some or have a little scrap pieces, because I'm going to, you know, it was just $1. All right. And I don't really know if laying it on the front or the side is going to do well, so I may have to start and stop. Give this a minute to dry, because I want it right on the edge. I don't want it to sit on the front and not completely on the top. I just want it in that kind of weird little place that's, and you can drag up some of that. If it starts to drip, just drag it up, and that way you don't have any drips. There's nothing we're going to have to touch up with paint or pull apart. And I'm just going to work my way down around the front and then the side. And I'm not being really heavy-handed with the glue, but when I want something to stay in a specific place and not move, and it's especially if it's joining two crafts together, because you're trying to cover up any glue or anything, you definitely don't want to put it in more of a way that you're going to make even more mess, or what you're trying to cover up is pointless because you've put too much glue. But you still want to make it where, you know, it'll stay. So as I'm like pulling up, I'm pulling up any dripped glue with it to put it on the edge. And I think it's really starting to turn out really cute. I think definitely once I get the eyes on it. And you never know. I did 2 of them. Maybe I'll on the back do the border on the back so it'll actually look like this was just part of the ribbon. This glue's so really hot that it'll stay hot enough for me to work with it. And y'all don't forget to follow. Don't just like and share this video with anybody that you know that may like to craft and want to follow and do some crafting with us. And don't forget, like, listen, if you do make anything, send me a picture through like Facebook Messenger or something, and it's a project maybe we can work on and I can do it with other people. I can maybe get it and tweak it and say, you know, this is a craft somebody sent me that we're going to share with everybody. I don't mind that. Everybody gets ideas from everywhere. Okay. I don't really want to set it on its side. I don't know if that will pull it loose. So let's just do it like this for now. But, whoops. I didn't do about 5 inches. Okay, take it. I'm going to slide it out. Grab up any of those little drips. And I love outlining something with this. Not only, you know, like if you're doing anything nautical or beachy, it just, you know, does that. But then you can take anything that's like this, like even though it's Halloween and you're still giving it that, you know, rustic farmhouse that everybody is decorating it now. Even, you know, a ghost is something you can do a little rustic looking. Put enough glue right there, which I think I need another glue stick too. Let me grab that. Now if you're changing glue sticks, I'll tell you a little trick. Put some glue on the end of it, so when you stick it in, it sticks to the next one and you're not having to push it when you first start. It's like when I saw that little tip from somebody, it was like the best thing ever. Okay. All right. The little humps, I'm glad I'm setting it down, and that way I can play with those little, because I don't know, this rope is pretty thick. Let me see if I can cut, not all the way through it, but cut a little part of it, like maybe about halfway through. So it'll bend a little bit better. Yeah, and that worked. All right, round and round. And you may have to hold this one for a second, that little pinch, to let it stick really good before you let it go. Because I had to put a good little amount of glue on it. Number one, this glue gun gets hot, so it, of course, cools slower. But, okay, and this is a little thinner piece of the wood. I mean, the rope, just for whatever reason, I got to a place that's a little bit thinner. Ow, boy. You cannot touch this like you can a regular glue gun. I got to really get those little finger protectors out that I bought at one time, or I'm not going to have any skin left on my fingers. Okay. Let's see, now it's back to normal. Let me see if I can not cut it all the way through, but just cut slightly. Oh, and I'm really loving how this is turning out. So, just to be able to work with it and see where I am, I think I'm going to, I got to play with this for just a second to see how well this is going to come together. Hey, Jenna Grace. Get hold of your mouth right. Oh my gosh, am I like doing like this? I think our whole family does it. All right, let's see. That's something you gave us, Jetty? Okay. So, hopefully you won't be able to tell where this came together, but it's kind of looking like either I need to play with it and maybe cut the rope at an angle going this way and an angle so it'll lay easier together. Now you made me conscious about sticking my tongue out. I've got to tell Chris I was doing that. He's going to die. Okay. All right. Now, I'm gonna kind of hold it for just a second with my scissors. Love it. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh, I love it. Now, I can go ahead and tell you, and I'm not going to do it while you're still on here because it'll take too long. I'm pretty sure, because I bought two with the intentions on doing it, I'm going to take the other rope and do the back side of it. It almost looks like a little drum on the side, but I love it. It will just cover up those like edges where it came together, and it'll just pull it together even more. I love it. So I'm going to put the eyes on the front of it, so tonight you will actually be able to see an almost finished project together. All right, do y'all like it? Y'all have to let me know if you like it or not, because it turns out I love it. Okay. I want this to seem not so random, but not perfect. Here we go. Put his eyes, they're probably about an inch difference on them. And you don't want to put his nose too far away. Their noses are pretty close. Oh my gosh, y'all. I actually really love this. Julie, you need to come see this. It turned out so cute. Okay. Oh no, it turned out so cute. And I can put it from the side and it sets up. And I love it. Let me back the camera up a little bit so y'all can see it better. But it turned out so, so cute. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead while I'm sitting here when I get off. And I'll post a picture on it for you to see. I'm going to just take probably what little rope I have left, just because I was able to put it down together at the bottom. I knew where the other piece was, where you can't see it. And that way I don't have quite so much waste, even though this is just $1. But yes, thank y'all for the hearts. Oh my gosh, I think that's like something good in Facebook world when you get hearts and likes and all that kind of stuff. That way more people will see it from out of area. And if you weren't on here at the beginning and you didn't hear me, y'all, I have like about 10 followers that are like from all these states, like way out, like in Oklahoma or something. And I'm so excited. So now when I get on, I can tell where you're from if you jump on. And so maybe somebody will say, oh, I'm from Oklahoma. And that'll be just so cute instead of having to talk to people that already know I like to run my mouth. But I'm so glad you liked it. And like I said, the more I sit here, if I wanted to put it outside, I could make two. You could actually make them the same, but yet maybe change the ribbon on the side where they'll all tie together for what they look like, but you could actually add some color in there. Because remember, with pumpkins, you don't just have to do ghost, you know, white or black. I mean, like, you could actually, I could have put like some of those turquoise highlights around the edges, or the little swooshes that people do when they paint something whimsical. I loved putting the eyes in here because if you could see it in person, you would see that the eyes just kind of stand out a little bit. They're not just painted on there. I could go back and put a little maybe whitewash on the eyes, make them a little, but I kind of like them stark like that because the black on the side is really stark. But thank y'all so much for watching, and tomorrow, maybe I'll alternate days where I'll do something for fall and something for Halloween. And next week, I'm going to definitely get my tree from Lynn and attempt a little Halloween tree. So you'll be able to see that. But y'all have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.